exactly.
I'm not surprised to hear that a fourth grader, like, all he wants to do is, like, can we just go outside and throw the football around?
Oh, yeah.
That is so important to a young man's life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you made that commitment to be able to do this. It's only, what, 4 hours a month, you said?
Yeah. That's the
an
minimum.
Important amount of time, though.
But I mean, for me, when me and Danny are hanging out, I mean, that 4 hours flies by very quickly.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's something that it doesn't take much of a commitment to get involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters. So yeah, anyone out there that's looking to do it or kind of thought about giving back, I mean, it's a great opportunity here to work with this organization.
What do you get out of it?
I would say, I mean, for me, it really gives me kind of a perspective of a child that's, growing up and actually in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. So it's, it allows me to kind of give back and also connect with a child. But I mean, for me, it's just to hear the things that he's going through, and whether it's, the positive things going on in his life, or, the little things he's struggling with. Just to kind of hear his experience opposed to what mine was, and giving him advice and kind of giving him a little feedback, and at the end just listening to what he has to say. I mean, I would say for a big brother, that's probably number one, is just to be a good listener, because I mean, most of these kids just want to be heard. They want to be taken seriously and have their opinions taken seriously, and so that's huge for them.
That's awesome that you're taking making a commitment in your life to be able to do that and be there for another person right here in our neighborhood in Omaha. So, Eddie, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your experiences. That's Eddie Franco, and he mentioned his friend Steve a moment ago. So we want to get Steve as part of this conversation as well. He's not only Eddie's buddy. Stephen Edge is also the director of enrollment with Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands here. So
how's it going, Scott?
You got a good judge of character here in picking out Eddie to be a big.
Yeah. My granddaddy, one of my mentors, he always said keep myself in good company. So Eddie's a good example of that. So.
Well, even though your grandfather told you to do that, I appreciate you coming in here and talking to me anyway.
Yeah,
so,
no problem.
all right, tell me about when you're talking to other people. You say, hey, how about you can lend some of your time to be a big for someone right here in Omaha. You probably hear all the excuses. I don't have time. When am I going to talk to this kid?
Right.
That kind of thing. How do you break down some of these walls?
One thing I always go to is, you do multiple things throughout the week, whether that's washing your car, mowing your lawn, hanging out with your friends, going to the movies. Kids like to do those things. Some kids, it may not be something where it's something that they actually do or see. So mowing the lawn, a kid would probably be excited to mow the lawn. They've never mowed the lawn. Maybe they live in an apartment. Even going grocery shopping, things like that, learning how to cook. Like, these are things you already do. You just incorporate another person into it.
Yeah, and just so someone's not getting the wrong idea here, we're not suggesting child labor.
No.
I'm gonna get this kid, and he's gonna be waxing my floor.
Right.
All that. I got a fence in these painted. This is gonna work out great.
Right. It's all the teaching experience.
Right.
So.
As long as you're doing it together.
Right.
And you're right. My son, he loves to, take the control of the lawnmower. I'm not ready to unleash him yet, but you go up and back a few times.
I'm hoping the mentor is not sitting on the porch with a glass of tea, like watching this little, taking care of his yard. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, second coat of wax on that car.
Right.
Come on, what are we doing? All right. So, what about, because one of the stereotypes here for Big Brothers Big Sisters is, let's say you've got, West Omaha white guy, and he thinks I'm going to be paired up with North-South Omaha, black or Hispanic kid. What do I have in common with this kid?
Right.
I mean, that's a real issue.
Yes, it is. And what I have to say is, I don't think it matters as much where you come from, because you'll always find commonalities with an individual if you learn about them. And that's the thing that we look in when we do our matching, when the going through the matching process. Like with Eddie, I know that he likes sports, he likes hanging out, he's a very good conversationalist. So going down, sitting with my team, we do the matching all together. We look at all those key aspects that would kind of generate a relationship, because these are strangers. So they're not going to know much about each other until we get on the phone with them, kind of describe who their match is, and go from there.
How did you get involved in this organization, Stephen?
I actually went to school at the University of Lincoln. Go Huskers! I know we're not doing so well football wise, or I guess any sport right now. But
We're gonna run the tables the rest of the day. Don't even worry about it.
But I went into it. I graduated with a family science degree. Love learning about behavior, how people interact with one another, especially when it comes to excuse me, different ethnicities, races. It's always something that connects people. And when I found out that this organization was hiring at the time, that was 11 years ago. I've been with the agency. Like I could see it. Like I started out as a match sports specialist who, they support the match, handle any issues going on in the match, make sure the match is running smoothly. But I moved to the enrollment side because like that was my niche, like interviewing the, kids, parents, the bigs, and being able to, find out what makes everybody tick, what makes everybody kind of connect. Like that just fascinated me, and I've been doing it ever since.
Is there a story, if when I ask you here, when you think about all the kids you've seen go through this program, and I say, what's the most heartwarming story of someone who you've seen their life transform from this relationship through Big Brothers Big Sisters? Is there a story that pops up?
Yes. One that I was personally, I wrote the enrollment of both the individuals, the little and the big. It was a little in Bellevue, I believe, and they, from a military family. He actually lost his father through the military, and his mom and him came to the program seeking a big. I actually interviewed a big who was a mechanic in the Air Force, and he had been there for a while. He's kind of an essential worker, so he doesn't deploy or as much as most do. And I found that they loved outdoors. They love, working with their hands, sports, things like that. And I just thought it was a match made in heaven. Come to find out, they matched. I think Little is graduated now. They were matched all the way up until he graduated. But those are the kind of things that bring me back to Big Brothers Big Sisters and drive me to, help my team find those kind of matches. But also just for myself, it's just internally gratifying to know that I helped that come together.
That's Stephen Edge, the Director of Enrollment with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
No problem.
And finally, I want to swing